Thank you. Welcome to this public meeting of the Princeton Board of Education. The board is an elected, unpaid group of 10 citizens who set policy and make decisions on educational, financial, and personnel matters for the Princeton Public Schools on behalf of all residents. We are always pleased when members of the community attend our meetings. The board and the school district operate under applicable New Jersey laws and under regulations of the New Jersey State Board of Education. Each meeting includes an opportunity for those attending to comment on items on the published agenda or other matters of interest to them. The board reserves the right to limit the time allotted for public participation. Law limits discussion of individual personnel and confidential matters. We hope our meetings provide useful opportunities for communication between the board and the community. Thank you for attending.
As required under the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 1046, adequate notice was given for calling this meeting. It was authorized by the Board of Education and forwarded to the municipal clerk, Princeton Packet, and the Times on January 9th, 2025, and distributed to the schools and others on the standard distribution list. The board reserves the right to enter into executive session during all meetings of the Board of Education. Board Policy 0168, recording devices, requires that we inform those attending this in-person meeting that the proceedings are being recorded. The meeting is being live streamed. Notice on the votes pertaining to sending district. The representative of the sending district, who is not here tonight, is authorized to vote on such matters that affect sending district students or affect the governance of the Princeton Public Schools, as more specifically designed in NJSA 18A 38.8.1. Sending district votes pertaining to personnel actions refer to the high school, central administration, district-wide staff only. Votes otherwise are considered abstentions. In the event that NJSA 18A 38.8.1 is amended, that law shall take precedence over this bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Would you please call the roll?
Daphne Kendall.
Here.
Beth Bayron.
Here.
Adam Bierman.
Here.
Debbie Bronfeld.
Here.
Mara Franceschi.
Here.
Susan Cantor.
Here.
Ari Mizell.
Here.
We have quorum.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris. Moving on, could I get a motion for the adoption of the minutes for July 15th, 2025? Ari, second Debbie.
Daphne Kendall.
Yes.
Beth Bayron.
Yes.
Adam Bierman.
Yes.
Debbie Bronfeld.
Yes.
Mara Franceschi.
Yes.
Susan Cantor.
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. So welcome everyone to our August meeting. Even though it's summer, a lot of things happening in the district. I believe new teachers reported this week. And so things are underway as we get ready for the first day of school on September 2nd. And that is all I have. I will turn it over to you. Doctor, I was going to say Mr. Superintendent, Dr. LaSousa.
Whatever you want to call me.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you, Ms. Kendall.
Yeah.
And as you said, I just have a few items under my report. The first is that we are inching closer to the beginning of the school year. So our new staff did join us right in this room yesterday. Dr. Ciso Stentz has led a program this whole week for them so that they become integrated into the schools. They'll be around the rest of this week, and our entire administrative team was here to welcome them yesterday. So we're excited about that. And of course, the rest of our staff joins us on Tuesday of next week, and the balance of that week has been planned and orchestrated by Dr. Tu. So we're excited to see everyone back in black on Tuesday. As that has been happening, of course, construction is advancing throughout the school district, and the athletic complex is coming along. We should be on the turf, I think, pretty soon, within a week or tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow, potentially. The track resurfacing will not quite be completed in terms of the new painting of the lines for another month probably, but we don't need the track until the winter and spring track season. So it will be, we can walk on the track, but we don't need it lined, excuse me. So we're excited about all the work and all the excitement that is coming our way, especially next week. The rest of my report really centers just on a couple of presentations. The first one I will take care of. And I don't know if we usually get up and look at the screen or how we situate ourselves, but
Well, you're going to move over and I will get up.
Okay, so I'll move over and yeah, well, this will be easy enough. So this is, as a reminder, there's a requirement from the Department of Education that we just report out twice yearly on HIB incidents and other matters that are entered into what's called the Student Safety Data System. It used to be called the Electronic Violence and Vandalism System, so it's changed. But this is really just a holdover item from the last school year to clean up our second report that was due. So you can just see this is the template we've been using. These are the balance of incidents that took place last year. For violence, almost all of those really have to do with kids who are pushing and shoving each other or getting into a fight or a scrape in the cafeteria at the middle school or high school primarily. And then we have our HIB investigations and the ones that are substantiated. And as you note, just generally speaking, and this has been true, I think, of many districts in New Jersey, there was a real depression or suppression of disciplinary incidents during the pandemic. Students were much more compliant. Maybe it was because they were wearing masks or they were practicing distancing or they just were not interacting with one another as much. And then after the pandemic, I think all of us saw a spike in kids being kids again and engaging in age-appropriate misbehavior. And now that we're a few years out, we're starting to kind of come back down the other side of the mountain or the slope, and students are, of course, behaving in a way that's appropriate. And I will just mention that when you have roughly 4,000 students in a school district, practically the number of incidents that you see up on the screen are really minuscule in the overall grand scheme of things, especially when you multiply the 4,000 students by 180 days of school to recognize how many minutes they're actually in our charge. So that takes care of that requisite report. This year, we will do the next report probably in the January, February timeframe for the first half of the 25-26 school year. And then I will aim to have the second report take place in June, recognizing that there could be 1 week of school remaining that might spill over with 1 or 2 incidents, but usually we can capture just about everything by the end of June. And with that, if there are no questions, I'm happy to take them if there are, but if there aren't, then I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Tu, who can talk about the recent state testing results that we received. And for all state testing results that we receive, we're required by the Department of Education to report out on them publicly within 60 days of their receipt, which is why we're doing it at this meeting, because if we wait until September 30th, which is the date of our next meeting, we would not technically be in compliance with the DOE rule.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Is that okay, Cass? There we go. Great. Welcome. It's really exciting time to be in Princeton, starting off the new school year, meeting new staff, and we get to share some great news tonight with our testing data. A lot of families will ask, well, what about NJ-SLA or our AP testing report? That is our bigger testing report because the NJ-SLA scores have not been finalized. We receive that report from the state in the next week or so, as well as the individual school reports. So I will be sending out a communication to families in the next few weeks about that, and then we will be doing that testing presentation in a month or so. Andrew, if you don't mind advancing to the next slide. Okay, so what is NJ-GPA? So this is our 11th grade graduation assessment. It covers language arts and math. We do this report every year. And this testing every year, it covers ELA standards in grade 10 and then Algebra 1 and geometry. As I shared with the board in the board update last week, New Jersey has decided to change the NJ-GPA and NJ-SLA next year. They tell us mid-August. Thank you, DOE. So we will be communicating with families, but you heard it here first. We will be doing adaptive testing, which means, if you answer a question, if you get it wrong, we'll give you a different type of question than if you answered that first question correctly. And it is more geared to and personalized for that student. So that's exciting. What we're not excited about is we have to do some field testing this fall, which is very hectic. And then we'll be doing the regular round of testing in the spring. So we will be doing a regular NJ-GPA in the fall for students who did not pass last spring. And then starting in November, we will be doing adaptive field testing for NJ-SLA, and next spring, adaptive, the new form for NJ-SLA and NJ-GPA. As those come up, we will remind you and inform the community about what we know as soon as we know it. All right, we're going to go to the next slide. So this is a graduation requirement. Students have to sit for this. This is not a test that you can refuse. If they do not pass the assessment, they can retake it, or they could pass it through ACT, SAT, PSAT scores, or they can do a portfolio. With these new test adoption format with the NJ GPA and NJ SLA, that's going to be interesting for graduation requirements. So that's going to be another change for future classes and cohorts coming through Princeton High School. Once again, as soon as we know more information, we will be communicating it to the community. So how did we do? So once again, these numbers are rounded, so we don't want to get down to the tenths into the weeds of things. So it doesn't look like we went up much in ELA, but before we were like a 91.7, now we're a 92.4. So we did grow in ELA, even though it doesn't look like we've grown and stayed static. And we went up 2 percentage points in math. These are not statistically significant gains, but you know what? We will take it. We're moving in the right direction, which is fantastic. And then comparison to the state average. So the state stayed pretty much stagnant in ELA achievement from last year to this year. They went up about 3% in math from last year to this year. You see our scores compared to the state average significantly higher. And as I just shared, we stayed pretty steady with ELA, but we went up 2 percentage points in math, which almost mirrors what happened at the state level. So as part of the requirements for the reporting out, we have to talk about subgroups and achievement levels across different races and ethnicities, as well as programming. So in this slide here, it's hard to read, but we will be posting this on the website tomorrow. It'll be ready to go for families to see and for the board to see. And this is a breakdown of ethnicities. So you see that there's an opportunity gap, particularly for our Black and Hispanic students. But if you go to the next slide and you advance, now, these are different cohorts of students, but it compares 23-24 to 24-25. And you see that across the demographics, we have grown with the student in those two demographic categories. Still not where we need to be. And as we talk about supporting MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support and instruction, how can we continue to meet students' needs? You see that students who are labeled under multiple races also dipped a little bit. Okay, now here as gender. So students who identify as female or male, our females grew a little bit, our males dipped a little bit.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So where it says here you're graduation ready, right?
Yeah.
So obviously a larger percent of students are graduating. Then so what does this really tell us?
So what this tells us is only for NJ GPA. So students can say that they're graduation ready if they do not pass the NJ GPA and still graduate with us if they pass another assessment or they do a portfolio. This is just for NJ GPA.
And so is this a required test or can kids opt out?
No, they cannot opt out. They have to sit for this to be considered for graduation.
But they only sit for it if they haven't taken the SATs or the...
No, they still have to sit
all
for
of them.
this.
So
Mhm.
this represents how many students?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yes, that's why the scores are high, because you'll see when we get our NJSLA science, when so many kids opt out, what happens to our science scores? They tank. Okay, now this is by program. So ESL, which is what represented at ELL there, students who receive lunch assistance, Section 504, special ed, general education. You'll notice that for our ESL program, there's not like a teal color or like a lighter blue color on there. That's because the data is suppressed. We had less than 10 students last year, MLs, who took the assessment. So that's why you don't have a comparison in 23-24 for that category. So what I like seeing is growth, right? Once again, these are different cohorts of students, but overall, we're seeing increases in achievement. Where we're not seeing it, as you can note very quickly, is special education. But that's why I have this lovely partner here, our new assistant superintendent, Margarita, and working in how do we tie gen ed supports with special ed supports and make sure that we're offering a rigorous program across our courses and our schools. So next steps. So for students who did not are not considered graduation ready yet with NJ GPA, that's where we really collaborate and coordinate with the high school administration to ensure that we are finding these alternate assessment scores. Already we know that there's about 15 to 20 kids who already had the PSAT score they needed to graduate, so they're already out of the bucket. If not, they're put into what's known as like an English plus or a math plus class receive small group support with a teacher, and then they do a portfolio assessment. They will also be offered the AccuPlacer assessment in December to cross that finish line. And we had a great success with that last year, particularly with our multilingual learners in December. And that is kudos to our teachers and our students for working so hard to cross that finish line. And then we always look at trends. We don't get a lot of information from the state regarding like specifics, but when we look at general text evidence and data, that's really what we're looking at. We really want to work with students on comparing and contrasting information using multimedia sources, which is a great skill to have. For math, it's a lot of basic geometry, modeling, and reasoning. And then overall, and like I just said, talking about with Margarita here in gen ed and in special ed, really making sure that we are providing scaffolding and supports in our classrooms and the best tier 1 instruction possible to support diverse learning needs. That's why when a lot of times I'm sending board updates to you, we're talking about sending administrators to Universal Design for Learning PD, having staff participate in that. So how are we creating welcoming and accessible learning environments for all students to meet them where they are? So I'm going to shift over to access testing, but does the board have any questions about NJGPA before I move? Yes, Daphna.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Dr. Chu. So do you think, so the kids have to take this test?
Yes.
Do you think they put their best efforts?
For this one, I think so.
Yes.
I do, because I think there's a carrot at the end of it of now I don't have to participate if I don't have a score in another assessment in a portfolio or take a class or what have you. Kids, I think, want to graduate, right?
Well, no, but I wonder if like they have it already, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, right, they have like an SAT or if you get
Yep.
SAT score. Do they just fill in all the B's? I just wonder.
Yeah, I mean, we could ask kids. I'm not really sure, but overall, I think kids try to take it seriously because they know. And our scores show that, right? That a large, especially for ELA, 92% of our students are passing it. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's a good question. Okay, so what is the access assessment? So this is another state required assessment for reading, writing, speaking, and listening for students solely in the English as a second language program. It's mostly administered online. There's an allowance for students who are in kindergarten to have it done on paper, which makes sense developmentally. And even multilingual learners who decline ESL services and who they could arrive and register on Thursday and access testing starts on Friday are required to participate in access. We use multiple measures to determine students' proficiency, but the goal for the state and through this assessment is to score a 4.5 out of 6 to determine if students exit the program. If they're not at that 4.5 cutoff, they remain in the program for another school year. And this is one where we're going to talk about a lot of suppression because across a grade level, there may be less than 10 students. And I am not legally able to put those numbers up here and present them in public because it would, cause issues of privacy. So there's a lot of colors on the screen. It's a little small. So, and yes, thank you, Andrew, for making it a little bit bigger. So you see here is broken off into 3-year trends. And you can see that GK through G5 stands for grade kindergarten through grade 5, then 6 to 8, 9 to 12, and then all grades. I'm just going to call your attention to where the cursor is, where the all grades are. So there are 6 levels in access testing, and you really want to be in levels 4 through 6, which is that light green to the darker green to the darkest green, right? It's very hard to really look at this data and get a lot of information from it. And there's a reason for that. It's because kids come to us with varying levels of language when they arrive for an ESL program. So some years we might have students who have a lot of formal education for whatever country they came from. They might have a lot of English background, and they're coming in and they're exiting within 6 months and they're out of the program. And we have other students who are maybe younger, don't have as much English, or is known as SLIFEs, students with limited or interrupted formal education, and they might be in the program longer. So there's not really a goal for the district to say, we want less kids in ESL, right? Like what we need to track as a district is how long a student is in the program and what other supports are warranted. So what we don't want is a student in ESL for 4 years, and then we're saying, they need special education services. I'm going to call Margarita. And that might be the case. There might be a learning disability, but at the same time, what is the instruction happening in the ESL classes and in the gen ed classes to meet their language needs. Because the first thing we always ask is it a learning issue or is it a language issue? And as a district, we need to do better work on that and answering that question. You can go to that next slide. Okay, once again, lots of data. So this is just the numbers for the colors that you just saw. These are things that we have to report out as a district. And you can see the levels entering all the way to reaching. And we exit students between that expanding and bridging. So between level 4 and level 5. That's where you want to see the numbers. And you can see that, like, if you just look at the GK through G5 bands, like, we're pretty consistent in that 4 to 5, 6 range of across 3 years, that there's not much difference in percentages. And we also have to note that when we're talking about 10 kids, 7 kids, 6 kids, there's a lot of variability when we're thinking about these things. And then I'm going to have Andrew skip through the next couple of slides because, once again, this is a code requirement, but it compares the grade levels across the elementary school. So Andrew, if you just don't mind going to like kindergarten, I guess, or grade 1, that's perfect. So you can see 23, 24, 25 at Community Park, kindergarten, less than 10, less than 10, less than 10. And then you see not available for all of that because everything has to be suppressed. But by statute, I have to report this out to our community, even if it is suppressed. So I'm not going to waste the board's precious time going through the next 6 slides that look very similar to this. Okay. Then we also have to report out on subgroup, which is the first one is ethnicity and race. So you see that it goes from Asian, Black, Hispanic, multiple races, and white across the bottom. So you can kind of see some trends right off the bat. If you look at the center, it looks like our Hispanic students in the ML program have a lot more orange and yellow compared to some of our other students from different origins. So once again, as we're teasing things out through our Student Achievement Committee, Lauren Samara has been coming and talking about disproportionality. This is on our radar. It's on Student Services radar. And these are the continuous conversations that we're having. The next one should be gender. So you see across a few years, once again, there's not much difference in trend across the bands for gender. Yes, Debbie?
So they have to put a gender? Is that how it's reading?
So that's a great question. No, they can put X, but for this, there was no one, or it's suppressed. Yep, that's a great question. Okay, and then program, once again, students who receive lunch assistance, sections 504 and special education. I want to call out once, it's hard because you don't know how many kids, but if you look at special ed for our access students, look at the colors. There's no orange or yellow on there. It's like a light or dark green and then a light green. And so that's what we want to see. We want to see less of that yellow and orange. So that's good. So, you know, where are our areas of strength and areas for growth? Because that's really what we need to be working on. And that is sort of the focus of what we're here for tonight. So the areas of strength, when we look at our ESL program and how do we prepare kids for taking a test like this, a small group instruction, we have a strong co-teaching model for ELA at the middle school. We are working on developing a stronger one for like our content areas like science and social studies. We are expanding course offerings at the high school. We developed ESL curriculum this summer. That's on the board agenda tonight. And we're really excited because we are also having a new K-5 ELA program that's starting in a couple of weeks. And one of the benefits of this program is that they have a piece called Prologue, which exposes students who are in the ESL program to language and vocabulary and all kinds of knowledge building before they learn it in the gen ed classroom. So they have a bridge to learning. And what's happening in that intervention is supporting the work in the gen ed classroom. So there's connectivity there that has not previously existed. Areas for growth, we really want to make sure that we're supporting our students throughout the school week, both outside the school day and within the school day, making them a part of our learning community, working with the liaisons for ongoing parental support for under-resourced families, and definitely, I'm saying this the 5th time now, strengthening our Tier 1 Gen Ed instruction for MLs. We are working with Dr. Solange Lopes-Murphy from TCNJ, and she's going to be doing a 3-part PD series for our co-teaching ESL pairs at the middle and the high school this fall. So we're really excited for that, about how do we have language goals in our classes and how do we support students to, if whether they just arrived here or they're about to exit the program, how do they feel like a welcome part of the classroom and receive the supports that they need? And then next step, so implementing this new curriculum and PD and making sure that our MTSS process is really being thoughtful about supporting our multilingual learners. And as I just mentioned, those community liaisons and all of these wonderful organizations that we have in the community for that two-way communication to make sure that we're supporting the needs there. We're not assuming the needs, but that we are actually working with families to understand what they need and how. I want to give Margarita a shout out again. She's planning a night in September. I'll let you talk more about that for Spanish-speaking families, about how to learn about 504s and IEPs and MTSS and things like that. Once again, really trying to make that bridge between home and school. Okay, and now before I turn it over to Margarita for the dynamic learning maps, are there any questions about the access testing? Nope. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tu. So we received our data for dynamic learning maps, which is an alternative assessment for our students that have significant disabilities and require some intensive academic interventions and cannot participate in the NJSLA. The results are based on a very small population, approximately less than 10 students, and it's individualized per the student's needs. So the results basically show that our strongest performance are in grade 6 ELA and math at 60%, moderate outcomes in grade 8 at 50%, and grade 11 at 33%. Grades 3 to 5, they did not meet targeted levels in that area, but it's not surprising considering the needs of the students and the purpose of the dynamic learning maps. With that being said, we are always focused on progressing and providing intensive interventions to ensure that all of our students are accessing curriculum and the supports necessary, and we will continue to do so. And I will also continue to partner with the Department of Curriculum and Instruction. And I just wanted to comment on Dr. Tu's reference regarding our Spanish-speaking families. We are going to be having a night September 25th. Further information will be provided where I will be having a nonprofit attorney that's going to present on different resources with 504s, IEPs, and MTSS. So, do you have any questions regarding the dynamic learning maps?
So what is the purpose of it? What is the purpose of it?
So the purpose is to hold accountability that all students are treated equitably, and whether you do have a significant learning need, you're still required and should be sitting to participate and engage academically and instructionally and access instruction just as your peers do.
So I think we have more than 10 kids who are severely disabled. So are they able to opt out?
So it's not opting out. It means those students have had instruction and intervention that have allowed them to participate in NJSLA. So it's either NJSLA or DLM.
Do we have only 10 kids?
Currently, yes.
That's
Yes.
really great. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, what about
Yes.
our out of district kids?
So most of them participate in DLM as well. Currently, that number is representative in the data.
So they're in there.
Yes.
Good question.
Yep. So, but we do have out-of-district students that participate in NJSLA, and that process is set up for them to receive that that part in whatever location they are.
They're grouped together.
Yes.
With everyone else.
And I
Sorry.
just wanted to add to that. So the same thing with NJGPA, our district is responsible to ensure that those students, if they do not pass NJGPA, that we send instructors there or that they do a portfolio, and we help oversee that process at the out-of-district site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have any more questions? Thank you. So moving on now, we have public forum. There's no one here from the public. Well, there's one person. Is there anything you'd like to say? No. We're trying to keep it interesting and moving. And we will have cake next week. Yeah.
That was a big draw.
So big draw. So,
Okay, so for the harassment, intimidation, bullying, are those just part of the consent? So we can go through that, the report that Dr. Lususa provided, as well as the school self-assessment, anti-bullying Bill of Rights. And now we're going on to our board committee highlights, and we are going to start with, Beth is putting her glasses on. So long-term planning with Beth.
Okay, long-term planning met on August 5th at 1 p.m. We talked about the progress of the 2025 referendum projects, the execution of those projects, specifically the CP Little Brook and PMS renovations and expansion, because we did some of the other projects already this summer. The HVAC is already underway. And in our committee in LTP, we really look at the things that are kind of coming in the future. And so we talked about that process, and we talked specifically about those schools, and we are targeting having bids out in November, and we are working with the town on the conditional use application site plan reviews. As we've talked about in the past, we're looking to get that all accomplished so that we can get the bids out in November. So we heard from our architects and discussed those things.
Yep, and we're grateful to the members of the town council who are assisting us in those endeavors.
And expediting that review, and
Yes.
we appreciate the
Very
cooperation.
much, as those tariffs are looming.
Thank you. That's it. Oh,
Okay.
our next meeting is the September 11th at 1 p.m.
Okay, thanks, Beth. Are you keeping your glasses on?
I can do policy right away.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, since my glasses are on.
Yeah.
Policy met August 19th at 9 a.m. It was our first kind of meeting together as a new group, and we talked a lot about process, and we are beginning work on a new Strauss-Esme policy guide. We had some on our agenda tonight. Is one of the first. It's just a simple procedural thing. We will have more of those policies that we work through in the next couple months. And we talked about other internal processes, including goal setting and other things that we do on an annual basis. So our next meeting in policy is September 9th at 9 a.m.
Thank you very much. Moving on to operations with Susan Cantor.
Hi, we met on August 7th at 1 p.m., our new time. We received an update on the referendum projects that are currently being worked upon. And as Dr. Lususa mentioned, it was a very positive report. And those projects include the detention basin, the track and field, the tennis courts, the bleachers, and heating upgrades. We then, as we always do every meeting, discussed sustainability, and we received updates on the energy plan being developed by the district, tree grants that can be expected in the fall, and the electric school bus grant and the projects and the progress that's being made towards getting those buses online. We then discussed several topics in building maintenance, and there is a transfer on the agenda tonight from maintenance reserve to support these projects. We also discussed the financial pressures on our transportation budget. In technology, we received a detailed update from Andrew on several rollouts of equipment and upgrades around the district. And finally, in food services, we discussed the new price list and 2 ovens that have been purchased, one for PHS and one for PMS, from our food service funds to help ensure that our food, is hot. Our next meeting,
Only when it's supposed to be.
only when it's supposed to be, cool when it's supposed to be. Our next meeting will be September 18th at 1 p.m. and it is open to the public on Zoom.
Thank you, Susan. Next up is Debbie.
Yes, so I have personnel and SAC. The Personnel Committee met on Tuesday, August 5th. The committee reviewed the new job descriptions for the 3 supervisors of special education and the new job description for a board-certified behavior analyst, and both are on the agenda for tonight. The board was updated on a new staff orientation, which Daphne mentions, running from August 19th through the 22nd. The board discussed several stipends for the academic year. The board also discussed several other personnel issues and positions, and the board started to review the district organizational chart. Should I just go?
Thank you, Debbie.
Oh.
And next up is student achievement
Yes,
with
yes,
Debbie.
I got that too.
Just wanted to give a segue.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Student Achievement Committee met on Thursday, August 7th. The committee discussed AAPPL testing results. We also discussed the many curriculum reviews that took place over the summer. Thank you for that. The committee discussed preparation for CUSAC. We also discussed an overnight trip called MSAN, which is on the agenda also for tonight. And then the committee went into closed session. Our next meeting is Thursday, September 18th.
Thanks, Debbie. And you also have equity, but equity did not meet. Is that correct?
Did not meet, but
Okay.
our next meeting, whoops, no, hold on, sorry. Thank you.
September 9.
So our next equity meeting is 1:00 on Tuesday, September 9th. Still debating whether it's in person or not.
Okay.
And yeah, 1:00, but we'll let everybody know that.
Okay. Great.
So,
Thank you.
Yes, please join us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought someone had a comment. Never mind. All right. Moving on now. Thank you, everyone, for working so hard over the summer in the committees. It's also the members, so we appreciate it. Work goes on. So moving on now to, and stop me from any questions, personnel, J1 retirements. We have two people who have been with the district, a combined 54 years retiring, Dr. Steve Carson and Liz Lean. Dr. Steve Carson is a science teacher at PMS, 7th grade, and Liz Lean was the educational media specialist at Riverside. Just two really fantastic educators, and we wish them all the best in their retirement. I do want to say my daughter lifeguards at CP, and Dr. Carson was going down the slide. So he's having a lot of fun. Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize Dr. Carson for the lasting impact he's made at PMS and on so many students, including my own. All three of mine had him, which is probably sorry for him. But Mr. Carson, we're deeply grateful for your years of service, your wisdom, your patience, and your heart. As you step into retirement, may you find the same joy and discovery that you helped so many of your students find in science. Your service has left a lasting mark, not only in the classroom, but in our lives. On behalf of all your students, past, present, future, thank you for everything you've done. You've truly made a difference. Congratulations on a well-earned retirement. We wish you all the best, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Mara. That was very nice. All right. J2 resignation, J3 appointment, J4 personnel, J5 leave of absence, J6 substitute student placement, J7 curriculum and instruction, J8 student services, J9 reappointments, revisions, J10 the job descriptions that Debbie mentioned, J11 abolishment of job descriptions. Debbie didn't mention that, but it's all together. J12 athletic appointments, J13 sick period compensation, J14 evaluation forms. Moving on to curriculum and instruction. Curriculum revisions 25-26. Thank you to Dr. Tu for leading that over the summer. K2 curriculum adoption 25-26. K3 is the NJSIAA, IAA, and DAA, NJ membership. And K4 is that overnight trip that Debbie mentioned. Moving on now to L1, educational placements of pupils, 25-26. L2, tuition students, children of staff, 25-26. L3, professional consulting services. L4, behavior therapy associates. And L5 is an action item. Can I get a motion? Mara, second. Ari? Any discussion?
Well, the action is what we discussed before.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Beth Bayron,
Yes.
Adam Bierman,
No.
Debbie Braunfeld,
No.
Laura Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Moving on now, M1 financial reports. Can I get a motion, please? Ari, second. Beth?
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
Daphne Kendall,
Abstain?
Beth Bayron,
Yes.
Adam Bierman,
Yes.
Debbie Braunfeld,
Yes.
Laura Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. And can I get a motion for M2 NJ SIG resolution? Debbie, second. Mara? Any discussion?
Daphne Kendall,
Abstain?
Beth Bayron,
Yes.
Adam Bierman,
Yes.
Debbie Braunfeld,
Yes.
Laura Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Moving on to M3 change orders, M4 contracts, M5 cooperative purchase agreements, M6 grant application, M7 school breakfast lunch prices 25-26, M8 stale checks, M9 joint transportation agreement East Windsor Regional School District, M10 registration travel agenda, M11 fire and evacuation drills. Moving on now to our second public comment. There remains only one person from the public, and we appreciate that you attended our meeting. Do you have any comment? No comment. So moving on now to the consent vote. Can I please have a motion? Ari, second, Beth?
Daphne Kendall,
Yes.
Beth Bayron,
Yes.
Adam Bierman,
Yes.
Debbie Brownfeld,
Yes.
Mara Franceschi,
Yes.
Susan Cantor,
Yes.
Ari Mizell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Oh, even with all those test results, 646, which is good for the summer. No, it was important. It was an important presentation, and we appreciate all the hard work that's going into those results. So this is the end of summer. It's very sad, but school's already, the weather, you wouldn't know it with the weather outside. So I'm sad summer's over, but the school year is already underway. Thank you to Dr. Ciso Stentz for, how many new employees do we have? Like 43. For shepherding them into the Princeton Public School ecosphere. So yeah, that's great. And you're just not saying that because you hired them all, but they are just a great.
They are just great.
They are.
No
So
bias.
we do wish everyone a fantastic school year. Our next meeting is on September 30th. It's very late this year because Rosh Hashanah is on the 23rd. We could always move it to a Wednesday. We'll see if we have to. Stay tuned. And with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Mara. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, just motion. I don't know what I'm doing.
You should get a motion in a second.
Oh, can I get a second? Beth?
There we go.
Yeah, I was already checked out. Yeah.
She was 6:45, she's like, let's go.
No, I'm not. I'm never like, I don't know. Sometimes my mouth moves faster than like my brain. No, my brain moves faster. Yes, that's my problem. We're good, right? We're out.
Yep.